So shall we start? So which group want to go first? Okay.
So after group discussion, and first of all, our argument is digital tools can save language, and how is it? It's like first the digital tools can help those minor language to get the global attention by like media effect, and after getting attention, the digital tools can also like help build connection between people who speak minor language and who are interested in minor language, and just connect it together. And the third point is that digital tools can also help the preservation of minor language. That's it.
Okay.
Well, as for our group, we firstly our opinion is like the digital tools cannot save language because I think like the digital tools have many ways. It may include laptop, may include like cell phone, whatever, even like more specific, even FaceTime, Twitter, whatever. So it have many ways. Like testing, also we can like have a video talk with others. So we can in these ways we usually think more of how to talk with other people. So it can just to establish more language and be more strong to support our language. So it cannot say it's our opinion.
Okay, next let's go into the free debate. Okay, we'll have 8 minutes.
Like, what do you mean by supporting our own language cannot save other languages? It seems like they do not have any cause and effect logic.
I mean like whenever we like to communicate with others, whether by texting or just video talk, we usually think more of how to express ourselves. So the only tool is by language, and also like he mentions even manners like body language. So these are all included.
So does it mean digital tools can save language?
No, what she's trying to say is when we use language to talk, we usually don't actually think about the structure. I mean, when you talk, you don't actually care about your grammar. So if you're saying that in our perspective, saving language is actually preserving the way the language is actually used based on the rules set, and the formal way of using a language is saving language. So from our point of view, digital tools can't save the language because when we're online, we tend to use the language the way we speak and not the proper way it is supposed to be used. So if, of course, you're saying that digital tools could help minor language get attention, but what about major language like English? If you go online right now, I bet no one, not everyone uses English the way we are using English in this class. People say thank you with THX, people laugh with LOL, and people use emojis. So in our opinion, that is not saving language, that is actually destroying language. Right, back to your second point, please.
You have already said that the first thing is that we can't deny, although we are using something that is called out of structure when we are chatting with each other online, this doesn't mean we are no longer using proper style of writing. These two have no direct connections. Moreover, the first debater has stated that when we are using video chat, which means the body language can also be preserved, because when you're video chatting with someone else can actually see you. The only thing video chatting is doing is to bring closer, like to eliminate the physical distance between two speakers, but it has no effect on the body languages. Moreover, both arguments presented by opposite side cannot deny the effect of internet to be, first, it is the best media to propaganda those minor languages and provide the potential learners resources with what they want. The second thing is that you cannot deny internet is a huge database which can make all the language resources be preserved almost permanently as long as the data exists. And moreover, I want to ask like the opposite question. When you say that we are actually ignoring the established structure, I think you have ignored that the history fact is language is evolved over time by itself, which means we are always changing the structure of our language. The grammar correct today can be obsolete 100 years later, which means perhaps 100 years later, people will think that the word love no longer exists. Instead, we use LOL for love.
So,
So-
if grammar, language and grammar is constantly changing, what is there to save?
It means that we still know this culture
What are you
exists.
saving?
But this culture exists.
But languages are not something that are solid. Change with language need to change. We need to adapt to new times. So what we're saving is a lot of words. We use a lot of words that were used for 100 years ago. But we need to accept that languages like my teammates said, languages need to change, they need to adapt. So we're saving the language, but we are also adapting. They are not opposite things.
But it seems like it's just explore a new area of language like LOL or just an emoji. But it's obvious like whatever in our daily talk or in academic writing or whatever essays, we still use the grammar and also the normal language structure. So I think this is the point. We don't.
Yeah.
It's still involved, but they don't change.
As my teammate said, we're in the future we may use internet language as normal language. He set the example of LOL, and I think that's true. Maybe in the future, the language we're using right now in the internet will be used in academic writing. Right now, it's not the case, but in the future we may see that.
And also, I want to make a point more clear once again is that we are using a kind of, you say, a new language on internet cannot deny we are using the old language, which is a formal written language. And also cannot deny the fact that internet can preserve and save other languages. You can't say that we are creating a new language so we automatically destroying the old one.
No, I think like
these
it's
are
just
not equal.
explore a new area, so it's like a replacement from some aspect, but it's kind of like a bias. So I mean like they will be exist at the same time. So that's just my point. So
Yeah,
yeah.
they exist at the same time. Also, we should all go to save those dying languages as long as they exist. They can have a coexistence.
But I think it's just people think more, so they can create something like that. So maybe future like the new area like emoji or some like those words like LOL and maybe replaced by some other English words. So it does not.
That is not saving. I mean, I'm so sorry, but I can't bring your point that saving their language means that you're okay with the language being adapted. Because by saving, you mean preserving, and by preserving is you want it to stay the same. So let me give you an analogy that your grandma has a very good recipe of butter chicken, and then that recipe become the traditional recipe. You can't change it and say you're saving the recipe. You have to stay with the original recipe that has been brought to you. So when you guys say that you're saving the language by being okay with letting it adapt, that is not saving anymore. That is actually moving on and leaving the old language behind.
If what you're saying is true, language was being destroyed before digital media. So digital media has nothing to do.
And also, I think this analogy is interesting. I want to ask you a question based on analogy. Can you still make this recipe without butter? Without butter?
Exactly. Then you are the one who says it's okay for language to adapt. You're
Yeah,
still
okay,
saving
let
it
me-
even
let
if
me
it
see.
adapts.
You can no longer make this recipe without butter, right? Maybe 100,000 years later, we run out of butter or on the earth we cannot find anymore.
And how can digital
and
tools
then,
save that?
And then we have two ways to do it. The first thing is to adapt it, which you have already denied, and second way is what digital tools can do. Because in the past, what we do with language is like orally pass it down or write it on the paper, which all these containers are illegible and easy to destroy, which means that they can run out of 100,000 years later, but as what I have stated, data will not work out. So this is only way to preserve the butter. And also, we cannot deny that all cultures actually converge during the time and they evolve during the time. I think this is something inherent in language. As long as we preserve it now and then as what they are 100 years ago, but as we doing research more and more better, just as what we have make the experiment on ancient Greece, we are actually having experiment on the language of ancient Greece, which means the deeper we analysis, the more concrete or like comprehensively looking at it. But you can't say that, you can't deny that it's a kind of evolvement. It is changing over time, but it is actually getting closer to original. So I think this is what the database is doing. It is helping us to preserve a language as closer to the origin as possible.
As the judge, I think I'm going to close there because I was on your side for the whole time, because there was a point that this side was not able to answer, and that just I think did. So the number one thing that what was the debate all based on this? You were
Anti for me to say languages.
No, but you were what made the disagreement really happen? You couldn't agree on not even the question, but what language meant and what it would mean to save it, right?
Mhm.
So in all research, like as you're going to do your research, the number one lesson is you have to define your terms initially, right? Because you were able to argue forever because you had the point of saying, there was like a little star over here where you were winning, because you said if language and grammar is constantly changing, then what are you saving? Well, that's it. That's going to be the debate. That's the end of it. Because there was even things here about preserving, and I was hearing this static language over here. But then in the very end, when you said change is inherent in language, that this is a thing, and then you had brought up that before technology, that language is constantly changing historically, and that's what language does. That's the point that like sort of overrides yours, right? So it was very close. But I think those 2 points right in the end, I will award you the slim margin on that. If also you promise all of you to define terms when you do your research, right? Because that's what made it all hard.
But
Yes.
they never do that on debates. It's more fun when they're not like they have different terms and they are arguing forever.
That's how you get slippery in debates.
Yeah.
Donald Trump can debate because he can say words and he doesn't have to be pinned down.
But it was entertaining.
It's because he pulled his hair up like that.
But it was a waste
Maybe
of time.
Yeah, but actually, like, I was thinking of, actually, before the debate, I was thinking of, like, a tactic, which means that I was expecting them to link preserve with constant, which means no change. So I can use the point that actually this involvement is inherent in language in order to refute them. But, yeah, I think it's like we bring at this point a little late. We should have bring it up more earlier, but sometimes because I do debate for 3 years in high school, but sometimes when both sides have the definition at very beginning of the debate, and then they like stick to their own definition and then no crossfires.
Yeah.
So it seems like they cannot have a debate based on a constant and not changing definition about some critical item.
Absolutely.
In the topic. So I think is that kind of I know it is very important to have definition when we are writing a paper, but when it's some debate, I want to know what it is.
I think you have to acknowledge a complex definition. You couldn't have just said language is words and got done, because it's obviously a very huge
What
thing.
happens if the debate becomes like the definition of the term?
That's all right then. I mean, you could do worse than to debate what language means in terms of technology, right? Technology cannot stop language change, as your group made. But a lot of the points that you were making about the things that the evolution of language that's happening, that's also a very good point. So essentially what you were doing was debating what language is and what
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
and what it would mean to save it.
Yeah.
yes.
Also, now I have to go home and cry because I'm
Okay.
imagining a world with no butter.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.